let's pull up now our ranking for what should we call it? For the movies post Endgame. So here I have a list of every movie that has come out ever since Avengers Endgame, and these are right now in order of release. So don't think Far From Home is my number one, and don't think Thunderbolts is my last, as in worst. This is just in order that they have been released since Avengers Endgame. There's 36 movies now in total, which is just wild to think about, that the MCU has made it this freaking far, that there's 36 films, and that's not even counting the like 10 Disney Plus shows. There's a lot of content out there, but with a new Thunderbolts movie out and me really enjoying it, I thought it'd be fun to kind of rank the movies post Endgame, since every time a good movie comes out afterwards, they're like, best movie since Endgame, the best one since Endgame. Which one is actually the best one since Endgame and which is the worst? And like I said, I'm winging it. I did not give this any thought. I am right now going to do it as you watch. Some of these do have reviews because I'm so spotty on Letterboxd. Sometimes I'm on it, sometimes I'm off of it. So just ignore those ratings, although that's accurate to how I feel about the movie. And let's just begin. All right, buddy. So let's work our way down and get ourselves to the toppity top here. So, okay. Going with number 14 on my list, I don't think it should be a surprise. My friends, it's going to end up being Thor, Love, and Thunder. Man, what can I say about Thor, Love, and Thunder? This movie was a severe disappointment. I think it's the film that might have ruined Taika Waititi's reputation, because he was looking to be a very promising director and probably still is. But this movie just, no, this is a situation where Thor Ragnarok was very entertaining. People liked it. And they just gave too much creative freedom to Taika Waititi, where he thought, oh, people liked it because Thor was funny. Let's make him extra funny. And that was wrong. This movie had all the formula to be really great. They had such an interesting story with Jane Foster getting cancer, Gore the God Butcher, who's killing other gods because they have abandoned him and he thinks that they don't deserve their power. Such good ideas. And it was all treated as a joke. Thor's people were dying left and right, and he was laughing along. That scene where I forget the character's name, but one of Thor's old friends is dying in front of him, and he's just making jokes. It's just like, oh man, it really disappointed me. I wanted to like it because I think Chris Hemsworth Thor is awesome, and this is a character that is very liked in the MCU. And it's even funny that Thor has made it to 4 films when Iron Man doesn't have 4 films. Captain America does have 4 films, but they switched Captain America out. So this was just, to me, the biggest disappointment. And I honestly think this is the only MCU movie I actually just don't like. I think if you put this in a ranking of all the MCU movies, I think this is just the one MCU movie I actually don't like. And the rest, I actually enjoy. I actually have fun with, not including the Disney Plus shows. So Chris is a hater. Dang right I am. When it comes to Thor, Love, and Thunder, Eric Stone, hate is my middle name, okay? And dude, yeah, you get Christian Bale. You got Christian Bale and you wasted him, buddy. Oh, dude, sorry. Okay, I'm just kidding. I will never get my money back. And it was pretty boring. See, so some of y'all kind of agree. Some of y'all kind of agree. Okay. So there's where we have that movie. Next up here, see, this is where some planning ahead would have done nicely. But I think the next one I'm going with is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This one, I think, is another one. This is one where I think I was soft on whenever I saw it, and I was like, it was fine. But after time, and even after a rewatch, I really sat back and thought about the impact it made to the MCU and everything that came for it. And you realize how big of a fumble this movie is. This is a movie that was such a disappointment, that ended up missing the mark, that before the Jonathan Majors controversy and things that were happening with him, they already thought, yeah, maybe Kang the Conqueror isn't our big bad of the MCU. They have said that in interviews. They have mentioned it. Even before the Jonathan Majors controversy, they were already thinking about switching over a different bad guy because this movie just didn't perform they wanted to. And Yeah, I think Kang the Conqueror could have been a really great villain, and maybe someday we'll still get that in the MCU, whether it's a different actor or not. But this movie did not do anything to get me excited for a movie that was once called Avengers Kang Dynasty. I think setting in the quantum realm was a cool idea, but then they stopped getting inventive with the shrinking stuff. I think about like the suitcase scene in the first Ant-Man movie, or even the knife fight in the kitchen with Wasp in the second movie. And there was no cool scenes like that in this one. It's just Ant-Man either goes big or stays regular size. I feel bad for the actress that they replaced from Avengers Endgame with what was it, Catherine Newton. She's fine in the role, but I didn't think they even did anything to distinguish her powers. So it was just a letdown in that this was supposed to be the hype movie to get you excited for Avengers Kang Dynasty because it was theatrical debut for Kang, and it was a letdown. I think it was a letdown. I'm not gonna say it was trash, but I think it was a letdown. I think it was a letdown. All right. Now we move on, and I'm stuck now in between three different movies that I could put next on the list because I think the next three movies they're like tied. They're tied for how I feel about them. So, all right, how do I go with this? I'm actually gonna go with oh, dude. Okay, I think I'm going with the Marvels. I'm going with the Marvels as the next one. I'm gonna be honest. This is where we start getting into that underwhelming territory of the MCU, where I don't think the Marvels was actually bad. I actually like the ensemble cast. Imani Milan is such a great actress, is such a joy, brings a lot of energy. They think they did a better job in this movie of having Brie Larson be I don't want to say more relatable or likable because I think Brie Larson gets a lot of unnecessary hate when she is a cool character. But this one, it worked better because she had an ensemble. They tried doing this thing where they switched the powers around. This is also one of the only MCU movies in this phase that actually had a post-credit scene that is actually going to matter into Avengers Doomsday and Dynasty. But overall, the movie was just fine. It was just, it was like okay, it was a journey. I sat through it. It's funny seeing Nick Fury go from Secret Invasion, deadly serious, to then kind of a goofy man again. It's kind of an inconsistent tone, but I didn't hate it. To me, it existed. There was nothing about it where I felt hate, but there was also nothing about it where I jumped up and down and I was looking forward to watching it again. It was just like okay, it was a movie. It happened. That was that for me with the Marvels. The next movie, and look, it's already conveniently placed on there. I'm gonna go with Captain America: Brave New World right here. Next up on the list there. Again, another movie where I don't hate, but dude, I am very mad. Captain America, Sam Wilson's first movie, uh, was this because it should have been his Disney Plus show, The Falcon and Winter Soldier. Such a better movie, such a better story, connects way more with Sam, with the Isaiah Bradley stuff, with the Winter Soldier, and the legacy of passing on the shield. Just the Disney Plus show should have been the movie. This was a Hulk movie. Why? Why did they think it was a good idea to make a sequel to The Incredible Hulk that didn't feature The Incredible Hulk? Why 35 movies in did you want to make a sequel to your second movie in the MCU? I don't get it. But even then, Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie found a way to bring out his charisma. He has a couple of standout moments. I still really like the aviation sequences. That shot where he's like riding the shield on the ocean. Even his fight scene with the Hulk, I actually didn't think was all that bad. I thought that was actually a pretty cool fight scene, even if some of the CGI moments were there. But when it was all said and done, I was just kind of like, I just, I felt like we got nowhere. I felt like this was a filler episode in the MCU, and it's just kind of retreading why Sam deserves the shield, which I thought Falcon and the Winter Soldier already told that story. So yeah, I was more disappointed in this movie with the fact that Sam Wilson deserved better, but I didn't hate it. I just thought it was fine. Next one I think actually went up because of Thunderbolts, and that's where I'm putting Black Widow. I remember when Black Widow came out, and this was one of the first very underwhelming movies in the MCU for me, where I was kind of like, it was okay. It just existed. But at the time, you have to remember this was almost exciting because of the pandemic in 2020 was the first year in like 5 years we didn't get a Marvel project. Remember, everything was shut down, no theaters. Disney Plus was barely starting up. There was a whole year without any Marvel content. So Black Widow was the first thing we got after a year, and I thought it was just fine. I just thought it was like I didn't understand the purpose of it other than they just needed to give Black Widow a kind of like a funeral after she died in Endgame. But after watching Thunderbolts, I'm not going to lie, I have a real urge to rewatch this movie because of Yelena, because of David Harbour, even Taskmaster. I kind of want to see that again. And when I'm thinking back on the movie, it was actually all right. It introduced a lot of interesting characters and it gave some context to Black Widow and how she grew up and into the MCU. So Thunderbolts, in a weird way, made this movie better for me. Like and that's the fun of this connected universe and all that. If Thunderbolts didn't come out, I think this would have like been in the place of oh dang, did I mess up? Sorry. I think I have this messed up. My bad. I would have had this in the place of like Captain America, Brave New World, or the Marvels. That's where I would have been with this movie. So Black Widow, I'm fine with it. And I'm not even kidding. I think I am going to end up rewatching it because after seeing Thunderbolts twice, I wanna watch Black Widow again. Dang, I still have this wrong. Sorry, Thunderbolts. There we go. All right, so here's what we have right now. Bottom of the list: Thor: Love and Thunder, Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania, The Marvels, Captain America: Brave New World, Black Widow. Okay, next up. All right, this is I think where we start getting into the good MCU movies post Endgame. Not the great, not the excellent, just the good. Okay. We went through the terrible, the movies that were fine, and now we're getting into the ones I think are actually good, leading us to great or excellent. All right. So the next movie I'm going to go up on next, I think it's going to be Spider-Man Far From Home. Okay, I know I'm gonna get some hate on this because nobody hates Spider-Man more than Spider-Man fans. Am I right, Spider-Man fans? Here we are. I don't. I know there's a lot of people who actually hate this one and think it's the worst Spider-Man movie. I don't feel that way. If anything, I felt that way with Homecoming, where I just did not like the direction they were headed in. But to me, the stuff that saves Far From Home and me liking it better than Homecoming is the Mysterio stuff. I still, not only is Jake Gyllenhaal awesome, I love him as an actor. I thought the costume is great. All the Mysterio sequences, great. Oh, just so awesome to watch. And even though I knew Mysterio was a bad guy and I knew he would be bad in this movie, the way they did his twist into pretending to be his friend, conning Spider-Man and all that, I love that part of the movie. And props on them for trying to mix it up. Spider-Man has mainly been set in New York, always had New York movies. They're like, what if he went to London? Props on that, even if it's not my favorite setting in a Spider-Man film. The part that does hold it back is, again, the over connection to Tony Stark, feeling like a Tony Stark villain. I know people hate that regurgitated complaint with this, but it is true. I want villains that want to go after Spider-Man, not that they have to because he's just conveniently in the way. That to me doesn't work. So the over reliance on Tony Stark again. The moments where he like has the like Tony just decided to give Peter Parker control of all his tech and whatnot. That didn't work for me. I'm trying to think about the other stuff that I didn't like. I hate that they deleted that scene where Spider-Man is beating up a bunch of bad guys. You guys know what I'm talking about. Far From Home, deleted scene. Such a fun scene, but I guess it didn't make sense because Spider-Man is supposed to be depressed. But I thought it was great. This scene, you can look it up on YouTube, but it's like a cool scene. Oh, also the Iron Spider suit. I hate that. I don't think he needs to be wearing that, but whatever. I still enjoy it, but it's got its mixes. It's got its mixes up and down like that. To me, this is the Amazing Spider-Man 2 of the MCU. It's got some high moments and it's got some low moments, but that's how I feel about it. Okay, next up in this bracket, I think I'm going with Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. That's the one I have next on the list. This is one also kind of reverse from Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania, where after I saw Doctor Strange 2, I was actually a little disappointed a bit. I was a little underwhelmed, but then after sitting on it for a while, going back on it, rewatching some scenes, I can't help but to appreciate some of the things Sam Raimi put into this movie, put in his visionary eye, and I like a lot of it. I like a lot of what they were doing. I think some of the fumbles is this transition, and this is a movie that really highlights the Disney Plus problem for me because we have a whole story arc that happened with Wanda from, I guess, Endgame, and we're not more Infinity War to this movie. She went through a lot. She has made up children. She took over a whole town, lost her love of her life, all this, and now she's evil. I just felt like that leap was a little too huge and not done well. And there was not a good explanation for the people who didn't watch WandaVision that I felt would be lost. I do hate how Doctor Strange sometimes doesn't feel like the main character of this movie. He just kind of feels like he's thrown into this chaos, if that makes sense. But also, in the biggest negative, for being called Multiverse of Madness, we traveled to like one other world and then like four other ones in the span of 5 seconds. Should have been some more multiverse hopping. But aside from that, I did like that one world they traveled into. I like the Illuminati, the Illumawati. Um, at the end, also the final battle with like Doctor Strange can dream walking, and the way they explain, dreams are just us going into another universe and whatnot. I think there was a lot of nice stuff in there, but it did feel a little chaotic and unbalanced. I am very curious how Doctor Strange 3 will kind of be more like the first one, hopefully, but I do hope Sam Raimi comes back. So I did like it, but yeah, I think it had some flaws in there. All right. I think now is where I get into the great. So we have great and excellent. And here's where I'm going to go with Eternals. Uh I don't hate Eternals, man. I think Eternals was a really strong movie, but it definitely felt over bloated. This was a movie where I remember after watching it, it was like, bro, we just got a giant history lesson on the MCU. And I know there was a lot of hate because of the diverse characters, but in the context of the movie, it makes sense. These are people that are supposed to be all around the globe in different areas, protecting the world only from these one specific creatures. But I like the uniqueness and the power. I liked characters like Kumail GL in there. They even had their own version of like a Superman. I thought it was also beautifully shot. It was an actual good, rich story. Um, I thought it was good. And if they made Eternals 2, I would have watched it. I would have seen it. I just think this late in the phase and with how many characters they were already introducing into the MCU with the Disney Plus stuff, it just felt like, so many people, what are we doing? And post-credit scenes in this movie are gonna lead nowhere because they attach to like Blade and some character named the Black Knight, and it's like, I don't think we're getting that. So it's a shame because I feel like there was some real artistry, and it actually, as a standalone thing, I thought felt like a good movie. But as in a connected universe and with everything else flowing, it did feel a little like, what are we doing? Why is this the movie we need now? But some people were like, movie was boring, you glazing so hard. I don't know, I liked it. I thought it was I thought it was good. I thought it was good, but it's a shame we're not gonna get more. Next up, I think I am gonna go. Oh, this is gonna be hard. This is tough. I think I'm gonna go. I have two. I'm between two movies right now. Um, okay, I think I'm gonna go. Oh, dude, no. I'm all right. The two movies I'm caught between is Shang-Chi and Deadpool. These are the two movies I'm caught between right now. Um, and it's so hard, I think, to place Deadpool because the thing I think makes that movie so good to me is its entertainment value of just being a fun movie, while some of these other films are good for a dramatic and story perspective. Does that make sense? Uh I think I don't know. All right, I'm gonna make a choice here, and I'm going with Deadpool. I'm going with Deadpool and Wolverine as the next one up from there. So again, this is a situation where I totally get some of the complaints now. I don't agree calling it a trash movie, but I think because it has a lot of those nostalgic moments, a lot of like the Channing Tatum stuff, the cameos of Chris Evans, the Johnny Storm, it feels like member berries. It feels like, hey, jingling keys over here, Marvel fan. This is what you like, right? But I think they miss all the great stuff that is also part of it with Deadpool as a character. He might be one of the funniest people in the MCU and Marvel, but you got to admit, Deadpool 1, Deadpool 2, and even Deadpool 3, there are some dramatic, sad moments. And Hugh Jackman gave one of his better performances. I still think Logan is his best performance as the character, but that monologue he gave in the car where he's just going off on Deadpool, oh, what a great moment. We finally see him in the suit, the claws, rated R. A lot of great jokes in there, too. I think this was just an entertaining time that maybe could have tightened things up in the story a little bit, sure. But this is a movie I'll endlessly rewatch. It has such a fun vibe to it. So that's where I'll put it. Now, the reason I'll put Shang-Chi above it is because to me, this is a reminder of what made the MCU great. I remember we were kind of on a streak of dull movies, and Shang-Chi came out, and everybody was like, oh, dude, this is what makes Marvel Marvel. The ability to turn a character nobody knows, has never heard of, which I know some people have and some people knew about it, but the majority of people didn't know, never heard of, and then catapult them into a popular known name and actually be excited. That's how I felt. I knew nothing about Shang-Chi. I didn't care about this movie getting made. I saw it and I was like, I cannot wait to see that guy interact with Captain America, be with the Avengers, be like they gave him such a cool movie, and it totally makes sense why this director now is going on to do Spider-Man 4 because he has a real eye for cool action scenes. That bus fight scene, really good job. So to me, this movie is above because it again reminds us when Marvel is at their best and they're hitting on all cylinders, they can create a nobody character into somebody and make me really excited. And I was so happy when I heard he's in Avengers Doomsday because I want to see this and I can't wait for Shang-Chi too. And Aquafina, best part of the whole thing. Make her the next Shang-Chi, please. Okay, putting that aside. Here, I think is where I get to the excellent movies. These next ones, maybe Shang-Chi was part of the excellent category too, if I'm being honest. These are now the excellent films. All right. I think I'm going Wakanda Forever. Wakanda Forever in that slot, I think for a reason is because, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I am still of the camp that they should have recast Chadwick Boseman. I'm always going to be thinking about what Wakanda Forever would have looked like if they just stuck to the original plan Ryan Coogler had, especially after you see Sinners and how talented this director is. But then again, it was Ryan Coogler's decision to also do the story that pays tribute to Chadwick Boseman. But I would have liked to have seen the story of T'Challa versus Namor. Because, man, that was done so well. And again, I loved Namor in this movie. I thought he was so awesome. And the way they portrayed their version of Atlantis and how it didn't feel like Aquaman. It was also such a gut punch of a movie because it was paying tribute to Chadwick Boseman. And that post-credit scene had me tearing up when he's like, I am King T'Challa, son of T'Challa. Oh, dude, that was good stuff right there. I thought it was good. But I do worry about how this movie will age in like 10 years. I think even now you could watch it, that one day you'll watch this movie and there's going to be generations where you have to explain, oh, they killed Black Panther because the actor died. And people will be like, oh, they did that? Wow, okay. Still fully respect them. And I think it's a miracle that they managed to make such a great movie with doing such a monumental change like that with Black Panther. And I'm curious how this will all tie together with the third movie. So I still think it was great, even if my biases of like I wish they kind of just continued the story, like if T'Challa was still alive in the universe and gone from there. But even then, really great film, and Shuri had some standout moments. All right, the real contenders of the final top two. I think some of you think you know where I'm headed with this, but I think I have to be kind of honest with myself a little bit. I'm going Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man No Way Home as number 2. Uh Look, No Way Home is a movie that is only made in a lifetime, okay? I will never forget the hype, the videos I made, the cringy intros, the community we had, and still will probably have when Spider-Man 4 comes out. All of that would always be held precious to me, and this movie will always stay in my heart because it managed to bring together all forms of my childhood, from Tobey Maguire when I was a kid, Andrew Garfield when I was a teenager, and Tom Holland as I'm now an adult, and actually give a movie that put those characters together and had fun with it. Like that to me is just, that movie made me smile so hard when I watched it. At the same time, I can't ignore some of the flaws now after multiple rewatches because this is a film I've watched like 10 times now of the stuff that held it back, like the COVID restrictions. This was a movie that was filmed during COVID, and there are some scenes that suffer because of that. Okay. Having the introduction of Toby and Andrew inside Ned's grandma freaking living room. Okay. The story choice to just randomly give Ned powers so that could happen. Um, Toby Maguire not having an actual interaction with Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. Also, Tom Holland not wearing this suit in the final battle, but instead that integrated gold suit. Ugh. There's little flaws in there that piss me off. And there's also the thing, since I'm not watching it with a crowd, there are those awkward pauses in between the hype moments where the movie's like, people are going to be clapping and cheering, so we need like 5 seconds of silence. Those stand out a lot now in rewatch. So I think I think those flaws are evident in there, but I still just love this movie so much for what it was able to do, and just bringing back Toby. It was nice. Oh, bro, forgot the Thunderbolts. I did forget the Thunderbolts, didn't I? Okay, so I have to mention that one. Sorry about that. Thank you for catching that, guys. I'm over here forgetting about that. Um, so that's where I'd place No Way Home. If I'm thinking about Thunderbolts, Jesus, where would I? This just completely ruined everything I was thinking. Um, where would I put Thunderbolts? Honestly, if I'm being honest, above Deadpool and Wolverine. No, am I? Oh, this is where I kind of have Thunderbolts. This is kind of where I would put it. I'm caught in between. Because again, Thunderbolts is another thing, kind of like with the Shang-Chi, where it's a reminder of the way the MCU used to be. Of it's almost like a Avengers, the original Avengers movie. Um, whatchamacallit, where it reminds you again of like you have these unique characters, they all came from separate projects and they come together, and it's such a fun movie because of that. Except the build up to a lot of these people were a pain through get through with the Black Widow movie or the Falcon and Winter Soldier Disney Plus show, right? Or Ant-Man the Wasp. What an odd area to have these characters be introduced and eventually form together. But the movie actually works, and they also took the time to focus on the story and the characters, deal with some heavy topics about depression, feeling alone. I thought again, story and drama like that will kind of always overtake it. Not to put Deadpool and Wolverine in a bad place. I know some people are going to be like, no, I don't know. I think that, but Deadpool and Wolverine, it's just a fun movie. It's fun, but I do think good storytelling, strong characters, that will sometimes overtake just a fun blockbustery time. You know, there's nothing wrong with a fun blockbustery time, but I strive for more of this in the MCU as opposed to what got here. And again, Thunderbolts, if you take away the post-credit scene of Thunderbolts, it has no cameos. It has no giant Easter eggs or big references or moments like that. That only happens when the post-credit scene hits. And it was just nice to get a movie that didn't have to rely on that stuff and also balance the jokes and whatnot in there. So that's where I put Thunderbolts. Sorry about that, guys. I totally ruined that train of thought there. Um, and yeah, I'm putting Guardians number one. I still think Guardians is the best MCU movie post Endgame. That was a film that just it cemented the trilogy really well, had me bawling like a baby to the rocket stuff. Kind of heavy-handed in there, but it was just solid. It was really great. I don't even know what other great things I could say about it. I'm glad that we had one trilogy of characters that were seemingly untouched by the overall universe. Obviously, they had to deal with the Gamora stuff, but I even thought James Gunn handled that well. Okay, if I'm being honest, this is my list. This is it. Now I'm curious your reaction and whether you agree or disagree on this. Let me see what people said. Uh, 3, yep, Sublime. Guardians 3 is top tier. Yes. Oh, yes. Okay, so people are agreeing with me that this seems right. Yeah, made me cry. Guardians is the best. Nah, Unk messed up. I mean, right now, if you guys want to put your top 5, I'll happily put them on the screen just to get an idea of what other people have it on there. So I have a nah and a W list back to back. So this is divisive. This is divisive. Some people are saying L tier list. Make a poll on there. Make a poll. How can I make? Let me see. I know I can make a poll, but how many whatchamacallit, how many movies could I even put on there? I'm gonna put my top 5, and then I'll see where you guys put in there. So let me see if I can get a poll started, and then we do that. Let me see here. Let's add a poll. Okay, start a poll. Okay, so let's see. Add option, oh, it only adds, let me add 4 options. Okay, so let's do, so I do Guardians. Can't spell Guardians. How do you spell Gar? Sorry, guys. Guardians 3. Then I had No Way Home. And then I had Wakanda Forever. And then I had Shang-Chi on there. Shang-Chi. Maybe I'll do tier lists on there. Okay, so there's the first one going up now. And I'm gonna add a second poll. Could I add 2 polls at the same time? Is that even possible? Oh no, I can't add 2 polls. Okay, so we'll see what you guys say here in a second. But that's how I feel. This is my list. So let's view it out. Let's view it out. Let's see here what we got. A view list. Where do I even put that? Save. I can't believe I just skipped over Thunderbolts like that. Such an idiot. Okay. Um, that's how I see this. And I got a W list. It's a great list on there. That's how I see it through. Let me see if I can start another one. Looking at the poll right now. Yeah, people are agreeing. Guardians first, and then No Way Home second. It looks like Shang-Chi and Wakanda Forever right now are still there. I'm curious where some of y'all put it on there. I'm gonna look through some of these polls that you guys have up right now. Oh, not end poll. No, I accidentally hit end poll. Whatever. Let me see. Here's some good ones that I'm seeing. Let me rank. Let me go with your guys' tier list. So one right now we have someone said number 1 Thunderbolts. Wow, No Way Home, Deadpool, Wolverine, Guardians. Okay, wow, that could just be recency bias, but hey, I trust you. I trust you. Guardians 3, Spider-Man, No Way Home, Black Panther 2, Thunderbolts, and Shang-Chi. That's a solid list. That's another one with the Guardians at the top. No Way Home, Thunderbolts, Deadpool, Wakanda Forever. Yeah, okay, that seems right. That seems right. Let's see here. Thunderbolts, Black Panther, Deadpool, Wolverine, No Way Home, and Guardians 3. Yeah, I think most people are agreeing. Guardians 3 is number 1. Guardians 3 is actually the best movie post Endgame. But whatever. Okay. Good stuff. Yeah. So we have a No Way Home number 1 here. Thunderbolts on there. So at least we agree Thunderbolts cracked the top 5 out of the 14 films. So I think that's a pretty big deal that Thunderbolts has cracked the top 5 since then. Thunderbolts there as in there. Yeah, No Way Home. I think I'm definitely being biased with the No Way Home so high up there. I'm thinking about some of the flaws and things about that movie, but it's my Spider-Man bias that's keeping me having it that high up there. But no, Thunderbolts really good on there. So I can even see it sometimes overtaking Shang-Chi. If I'm being honest, I could be flipping Thunderbolts and Shang-Chi back and back. So yeah, good stuff in there. Hopefully y'all like that. Let's see. We have a read here says No Way Home, Shang-Chi, Guardians 3, and Deadpool Wolverine. Oh, it's a good, great list. Guardians, no matter what. Yeah, good stuff in there. So that's my list, guys. I hope y'all like that. Thank you for dealing with that. And sorry for the mess up, and thank y'all for catching that.